This is part 3 of the Subnautica series, and I've gone ahead, I've done a little bit more work. I did the legs, and there's really nothing special at all about the legs, and so I figured I'd just go ahead and do that. So I've got them all the way along here, so I think we'll just leave it at that for that part. I put a little bit of text on here and there just to add a little something. And then I've taken this unit here and I've put it up here and just turned it sideways so that we can create this thing or this thing on top of there. And I've done something for this as well, and just add a couple of graphics on there, a little bit of text. Okay, so what I want to do in this video now is work on this front piece here. And then I'll show you the decal that keeps popping up. We'll talk about that for doing that stuff. So let's come back over here and just go into regular view. And the way I'm going to do this is I'm just going to select there, Shift D to duplicate, pull that out, P to break it out. And I don't want that material on there, so I'll just get rid of it so it doesn't have this material. Okay, so I'm going to maybe make it a little bit bigger. And just do something like, maybe I'll extrude out a little bit this way and then just down a little bit. And that's really all I need, but I think I'll just do that so I have a surface to put the other piece on. And I'll probably take this and go E and S just to come back in. And then I'm going to take these edges, pretty much all of them, give them a little bit of a bevel and see if we can get away with 2. You know, so we'd have just like a ring-like thing that would attach here. And then on top of that, I'm going to have this piece here. So I'm going to select here, Shift S, cursor to selected, and I'm going to bring in a UV sphere, and I'll make it 16 here. Yeah, that's probably okay. And look from the side, it's really the front for me, and rotate 90. Go to wireframe and 1 for vertex selection, and press B and draw a rectangle around that. And I'm going to take this and scale it in the X. So it's got some curvature, but otherwise it's relatively flat. And that's going to fit, you know, in or on there, kind of like that. Shade smooth. I probably want a subdivision on that. And then I'm just going to scale it, and maybe I'll scale in the X a little bit more out. It's kind of like that. Okay, and this one I think I'm going to apply the subdivision and then come in here, and maybe I can just let's get rid of that and select that, and to a circle and F to make a face. It should still be okay like that. I think what I'll do now is select one of these circles, Shift D and scale it out and break it out. And what I'm looking at making is that thing there. Okay, so I'm going to take that and I'm going to convert it to a curve. And just pull that up. Get that. Eventually I'll put a subdivision on that. Okay, so we'll have that piece. So I am going to convert this to a mesh 3, and I will convert it to a mesh. Okay, and now I'm going to come in here and just grab any of these vertices right at the top there. Shift D to duplicate, pull that down, P to break it out. And I'll take that and I'll just extrude it up and in. And won't worry right now where it's landing. And I'm going to convert that to a curve. And I can now go like this. Give that some thickness. And just get it in where I need it to be. Sort of central underneath there. And something like that. Okay, so I'll take that piece now and give it a resolution of 3 and convert it to a mesh. And now I want to have that go around in a circle. just might scale Shift Z. Make it a bit bigger. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to use that. I'm just going to bring my 3D cursor there, make sure. And I'll take that, I'll go into edit mode and switch this to 3D cursor. And over here, I will use the spin tool in the X. Pull that around. Use duplicates. Make this 360 degrees. So I'm going to go for the default of 12. Select them all, M, merge by distance. I'll get rid of some vertices and do that. Okay, now this thing, I'm going to put Control 1 on it. I think that looks okay, and I think I'll have them coming out straight. So I'm going to, I've got these and I've got that. So that is a subdivision. I'm going to apply the subdivision and take this, and I'm going to just join them together. It would have been smart if I didn't do that, actually, the more I think about it. Because if I want to unwrap these, I'm probably best, and I'm not sure I really would have to do it this way, but if I mark a seam on that, and then let's just focus on these two things. If I then come in and maybe select a little bit of each of these, I'm going to get rid of these so that all of the pieces have a seam on them, rather than going around doing them individually. So do this, Control L, X vertices. There we go. So now I can take that piece and I can spin it again. Sorry about that. Bring it around, use duplicates, 12, 360 degrees, and select it, merge by distance. Okay, good. And for this thing, I will just, it's a lot of vertices, but I'll just mark a seam underneath there, going all the way around. And now I'm going to join those. And then let's just figure out, I mean, that's probably okay where it is. Let's just see what happens if I bring it a little bit forward. I'm going to put it right there. That's fine. Okay, so that's our piece right there. And so I've got that, I've got this. And yeah, and I could probably join those together. Actually, before I do that, I'm just going to make sure this is the right size. I just want to push it in a little bit, pull it back a little bit, and I'm going to go ahead and join those together. And yeah, it sure would look nice with a subdivision, but I'm not going to bother right now with that. I'll take that and I'll take that. I'm going to join that, and so that gives me that piece. Just going to come in and merge by distance, nothing. And let's make sure we're all facing outwards. Okay, that one isn't, so I'm just going to take it all and recalculate outside. Okay, good. If I just do a straightforward unwrap, I'll get this, which is not too bad. The thing that I care about is this one right here. So I'm just going to move that and scale it up a little bit bigger if I can. Let's take that and pack it. And so if I can get a nice large piece there, then that will help us for what we want to do. Export this as an FBX and open it up in Substance Painter. Okay, bake the mesh maps at 2K. Now I'll add that plastic that we've been using, and I'll change the color to a dark gray, and I'll put the roughness at about 0.4. Yeah, that looks okay. And then I'm going to right click, filter, and I'm going to add this matte finish. All right, now we can put a little bit of dirt on it, but I mean, it is underwater, so I don't know how realistic that would look, but we'll leave it like that for now. So we need to do the orange part, and then we need to do the graphic there, so let's do that. All right, so the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to just duplicate this, and I'll come in here and I'll get sort of an orangey color, orange, yellow, whatever. I'll add a black mask, and come to my polygon fill tool, and I'll choose that one. And I'm just going to go around and I'm just going to highlight each of these. And it's on mesh fill, so I should get the whole cylinder. And I can always go back and change the color. Alright, so I won't spend a lot of time trying to perfect the color with you. And there we go. Now, it probably would look good with a little bit of dirt, but we won't worry about that right now. So the only other thing we really need to do is this thing. So I created this in Flash because it's a vector drawing program and I don't have Photoshop or Illustrator. So I just use this, and you'll notice that there's white parts and there's black parts. And because this is going to be an alpha, the white parts are going to sink in because I'm going to have negative height in Substance Painter. So the white parts will sink in, but the lighter gray parts, it's almost white, just won't sink in as much. So I just thought I wanted to have that effect, and you'll see what it does. You'll notice that the center, if you looked really carefully, you would see that there's really bright white in the middle and then slight gray tones around it, just to give a little bit more depth to the whole thing. So, I mean, I'll provide this on the Zero Bio Discord if you're following along with it, but otherwise, you know, you could make anything and experiment with it. This certainly isn't the best design, but anyways, it's front hatch alpha. And you just go to the Zero Bio Discord, to the references channel, and that's where you'll find all the alphas that I've been using for this. So we're going to use that, give that a try. What I want to do here is I want to be in the 3D view. I want to snap to orthographic right in the front. I'll do the best I can to get this in. So we've got those two layers. I'm going to create a fill layer so I have some control using color and height. The color is going to be almost black, and the height I'm going to drop down, like I'll put it around halfway. We'll see how that looks. I'll add a black mask and a paint. That way I can go back and I can change color or height or whatever. In the paint layer, I need that alpha. So I'm going to come in here and find it, front hatch alpha, select it, define it as an alpha to the current session, and there it is. And if I increase my brush. Now, that's as big as it goes right now, but I want it a bit bigger, so I'm going to come over here and type something like 140. We'll see what that's like. I just want to see here. See, it's not quite that big, so maybe I do need it a little smaller than that. Maybe like 110. You know, it's experiment, and I'm not necessarily going to get it the exact way that I want it here, so I may go off and do it again on my own, but just to show you. So let's say something like that. So I click there, and this is what we get. All right, so it doesn't look too bad. Okay. So what we need to do is let me just make sure that looks okay. The only thing I didn't do these lines. And really there's a bit more of a curve to this piece than I've got, but you know, whatever. All right, I want to get this to glow a little bit. All right, so what I'm going to do is, this is my alpha. I'll just call it alpha. I'm going to duplicate this layer, and I'm going to need emission in my channels because I don't have it. So I'm going to choose emissive, and on this layer I'm going to select color and emission. And for the emission, I'll go with like like a blue color. And I'll set this also as a kind of off blue color, like that. Nice and bright. Okay, so as you can see, it's filling in the alpha because I just copied it. All right, but what I want to do is I want this restricted to these pieces. So I'm going to come over here and I have my paint, and I'm going to switch to this hard brush, and you can see it's white. So if I click, I'll get that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to press X, and that turns it black. And now I can go over this, and I'm going to do everything except this here. So I'm going to come kind of close and just leave those parts. It's not exactly the same as the reference image, but we're going to do it this way, or I'm going to do it this way. Okay, to about there. Up to there and there, and now I've got those parts with an emission, and so I can come over here. I could turn the emission intensity up a little bit. I can come over here. Of course, I'll do this in Blender, but just to show you, we could You can have some glare on this stuff. Sorry if that's hard on your eyes. And I'll put that on bloom and let's just see. Okay, just a little bit bright. So just bring it down a little bit. And the white underneath just gives it another kind of, it's not solid emission. So that may be a drag for us to look at. So I'm just going to uncheck that for now and probably leave it off anyhow. In the diagram here, in the reference image, you can see there's a blue glow here, and then there's sort of a yellowish orange one here. And so what I'm going to do that is, this is, let's say, emissive blue, let's say, and then I want emissive orange. So I'm just going to duplicate this again. And I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to want color and emission. And this time, I'm going to go for like an orangey kind of color. You can see that coming in with maybe there. Well, I don't know about that. All right, well, whatever. And I'll come down to the paint. And again, if it's white, I can paint with it. But what I want is to erase everything except that middle circle. So you make that bigger if you want. I just don't want to hit that middle circle. There we go. And so now I have that. I can still change the color on there. And so if I bring that up, okay, I'll put the post effects on one more time. All right, so we've got what we need basically, but I don't want to leave that on. Okay, I think we got what we need. Let's go back to perspective though. And then it's up to you if you want to try a little bit of dirt just to rough it. I'll probably do that at some point and scuff it up a little bit, but we'll see. Let's do that. Let's just see how a generator works if you just put the smallest amount on. Here we go. And then let's take it down. You know, ambient occlusion will probably solve that for us really, but you just get some in here in the joints, but I'll leave it on like that. Okay. However, if I want to, I can come back to this main alpha, and I had dropped it down halfway. I can bring it down the rest. I could bring it out. But I'm just going to do that. I think we'll leave it like that. All right, so let's call this Subnautica front video. And now we need to export that, and we need to make sure that we have a template that has emission. I don't really need opacity, but I don't care if it's there, and all of the other ones. So that one can do it for us. I don't know why I closed that. So we're going to come to this one, and I'm going to save this in Texture Subnautica Video, export it, and let's go have a look. Okay, over here, there's our piece. Yeah, I kind of don't really like the shape of it. I think I would have it in a different shape. But anyways, we'll just we'll go with it. You get the idea. Okay, we'll do that. Select Shift Control T, and we want Texture Subnautica Video. I think that's probably it. Subnautica front video, base color to roughness. Okay, we're getting that on there, and then we'll just fix up the emissive. So I'll come down here. I'm not going to use the displacement from Cycles, so I'll use this node. I'll press N and come up here, and I can rename this emissive. And then I'll just use this, and I'll select the emissive, this one here, and it's sRGB. That's good. And we'll drag that into the emission and set the strength at, I'm going to go for 25, and let's just see what it looks like there. And there it is. Yeah, I think maybe I don't like the yellow so much. That's pretty nice and bright, but it looks nice there with the bloom. I guess I've got this stuff on from a previous time. So let's mirror that to the other side. So let's just come in here and bring the 3D cursor there and take that, set the origin to the 3D cursor and mirror. And there we go. So I can easily come back here and say I don't really like this one. Is that the one there, the yellow? Yeah, I'm just not liking that. I want more of that. Okay, let's say I'd like that. I would save. I could export, and it's really all one material. So yeah, okay. So I'll just do that. The only thing I need to reset up is the emissive. So I'll just select it, shading. All I need to do really is come down in here. I didn't change anything but the emissive. So I'll just grab that again, and it's slightly different color. So there you go. Okay, and that may be too much in the emissive. You know, I could compare it to this one and see. I'm not going to bother with that right now. So that is it. Now that's under this particular lighting, whether or not you can see the alpha well enough, but I think that can work for us. So this is what we have. I'll show you in just a couple of different lighting. And I may have brought the strength down a little. Okay, so that's how she's looking so far. So, like I say, I did a couple pieces on my own, the legs and this piece, brought that up. So we did this piece together. Whether I keep that or I make a slight change to it, at least that's basically the way I did it. I will go on and I'm getting close to really the end. I may put this piece on, or I may do a couple of other little side things. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to do the platform. I might just put it on the ground, but we'll see. So anyhow, if you are following along, that alpha will be available to you if you don't want to make one for yourself. And good luck with your model if you're doing it. Thanks a lot for coming by. Hope you'll come by for the next video. Take care.